Well, for better or worse, Albany is the center of New York State government. But when the legislature is in session and the sun goes down, it's also a hotbed of political fundraising. In the 2 months since the legislature convened in Albany on January 4th, there have been only 14 session days, but more than 40 legislative fundraisers. Now, if you bought a ticket to all of those, the total bill would have been more than $18,000. Plus, of course, whatever doctor's bills you might have imposed from eating all that finger food and drinking all those cocktails. But if you thought that was an intense level of fundraising, strap in, because the last 3 weeks of March, right before the state budget deadline, will bring another 27 legislative fundraisers with a total cost of more than $12,000. That's a lot of fundraisers, which begs the question, how do the members of Albany's donor class do it? With that in mind, we set out to find out if it's even possible to attend all of the fundraisers on a given day. This week, the legislature returned to Albany on Monday, a day in which there were 7 fundraisers. The first of them was a $500 a head lunchtime affair held by Western New York Assemblyman Bob Oakes. But things get considerably trickier after dark when a dedicated lobbyist would have to attend 6 fundraisers in the course of 2.5 hours. Here's how you do it. You can start your evening at 5:30 here at the venerable Fort Orange Club, which is far and away the most popular venue for legislative fundraisers for members of both parties. The club is large enough to host multiple fundraisers in different rooms, which is why on this night, upstate Republican Senators Kathy Young, Mike Ranzenhofer, and Joe Robach can charge $1,000, $600, and $500, respectively, for their overlapping shindigs. Let's say you spend 15 minutes apiece at each one, which means you would hit the door at 6:15 for a brisk walk across West Capitol Park and back into the Capitol complex to the Albany Room at the north end of the Empire State Plaza concourse. This is where Bob Oakes had his $500 a head lunchtime event. Come nighttime, it was the scene for Jeff Dinowitz, an Assembly Democrat's $500 a head fundraiser. So budget about 25 minutes for travel and lobbying, and then we're off. To 90 State Street, a former bank lobby that in recent years has been refurbished as an event space. This is where the Republican Assembly Campaign Committee is holding its $500 a head Winterfest. By this point, it's past 7 o'clock, but don't worry, you've only got one more stop. The elegant new Renaissance Hotel just a block east of the Capitol, where Assembly Democrat Harry Bronson will hang out with you for just $500. Congratulations, you're done for the night. Now, none of this fundraising activity, busy though it is in any way illegal, though critics who decry the influence of money in politics do find it a little bit unseemly. They include Blair Horner, legislative director of the New York Public Interest Research Group.
What could be more brazen than holding fundraisers for lobbyists? Lobbyists that are asking for favors during the day and handing you money at night.
An expert on government ethics, Horner says these marathon evenings are nothing new.
I've seen them as many as 18 in a night. We've been tracking these campaign fundraisers now for over 20 years.
18 in a single
18 in a night.
In Albany.
In Albany. And so it's pedal to the metal for the blue-suited nomads of Albany as they make their way up and down Washington Avenue. They zip from place to place. They drop down their business card. They wave to the sponsor and move on to the next one.
You don't try and make a pitch. You literally just make your presence known. You're gone.
The fact that your card is there is all you really need to say.
Democratic Assemblywoman Sandy Galiff of Westchester has for years sponsored legislation that would outlaw fundraisers in Albany County during the legislative session. Lawmakers who represent the county would be exempt, of course.
It just seems to me that you're putting lobbyists right next to the legislature at a time when we're really actually voting on these things. The second half of the year, we're down in our district, we're not here voting. That's a good time to have a fundraiser instead of up here.
What about the argument that, this isn't the Vatican, this is the place where, where these sort of political arrangements are done, where policy is made? gosh, it isn't surprising that there would be so many fundraisers taking place right here. The recipient community is here, the donor community is here as well, whether it's, advocates, lobbyists, private corporations, friends, what have you.
Well, I've never had a party up here to raise dollars, but I've had a lot of people sitting just where you are lobby me on issues. And that's okay. People can come in, they can lobby in our office, they pull us off the floor of the assembly every time we're in session to talk about bills. We meet all the lobbyists in the halls and the elevator. We have an absolute opportunity to talk to anybody up here, and you don't have to exchange a check to do that.
Galef thinks the change would be applauded by good government groups as well as by lobbyists.
And I've heard their views on this too, dropping money every place. I actually think many lobbyists would prefer not to have fundraisers in Albany.